What up, world? Welcome to another episode of Blunt Talk Quick Takes. I am your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the beautiful and cloudy confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching or listening, I thank you as always. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. You can check the Blunt Talk Quick Takes exclusively here on Podbean. However, if you're looking to catch more content of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast, you can check the show out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Substack, Patreon, and as well as on Trovo. Happy to be here with you guys on this beautiful May 15th, 2025. Very exciting day. A little dreary where I'm at, but, still happy to be here with you guys nonetheless. We're going to go over some NBA content. We're going to go over the playoff games from last night. Celtics were able to stave off elimination, winning by 25 points against the Knicks. And the Wolves were able to punch their ticket to the Western Conference Finals, eliminating the Golden State Warriors. So I'll definitely be recapping those games. But before we do, I definitely want to make sure we give a shout out to some friends of the show. If you already know, you watch the show, you already know. I advocate all of you for always to get out whenever you get free time from work. Make sure you spend the most of your time with your friends and family. But most importantly, check out StubHub, because right now, especially with the NBA playoffs heating up, this would be the time definitely to punch a ticket, whether to the Eastern Conference, Western Conference Finals, or NBA Finals. There will be a creative ID link within the description box of this video. Also, as well as the NFL schedule release just dropped yesterday. Big news coming out of the NFL. So if you definitely want to catch your team and want to get some tickets, there will be a link in the description box of this video for that as well as Major League Baseball and WNBA tickets. And like I said, StubHub's got a big promotion going on with that, so I definitely implore you to check that out. Also with Viagogo, Billie Eilish is currently touring in the UK, Lady Gaga, Tomorrowland 2025, and as well as the band Oasis. So a lot of things going on. And also, too, if you're in the FC football, Paris Saint-Germain and Inter Milan play on May 31st. So definitely might want to get your tickets before that comes about. So definitely check out StubHub and Viagogo, the number one and number two leading ticket getters in the world for tickets to live events, shows, and concerts. And also, if you're an avid gamer like myself, I implore you to definitely get your gaming on. Check out the description link in the box of this video for PlayStation Direct, Sony PlayStation, more than a game. All right, guys. Well, we're going to hop right into this content now. Yeah, the NBA is pretty much getting, down to the wire as far as these games. And we all knew with the tragic injury that happened to Jayson Tatum the other day that it was going to be paramount for the Celtics to stave off elimination. Jaylen Brown was going to have to step up. The team was going to have to step up, period, for this team to really contend and, could still compete and be able to have a chance to, make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Essentially, they did stave off elimination last night, winning 127-102 against the New York Knicks. The series is now 3-2. The Knicks still have the lead. Game 6 will be heading back to New York. But before I get into what potentially Game 6 may hold, I want to touch on to last night. First of all, shout out to the Celtics for already having a devastating injury that happened to Tatum, not being sure, not knowing what was going on, how the team would respond, if they would be emotionally prepared for the moment. They were. They did exactly what they were supposed to. Jaylen Brown was electric. He had 26 points, 12 assists, which was huge, 9 of 17 from the field, and he was 3 of 5 from 3, which was 60%. So electric for Jaylen Brown. They needed him. He's one of the leaders on his team. He's the 1A to Jayson Tatum's number 1 spot. So this was needed. Also want to give a shout out to Peyton Pritchard and Derrick White. These guys were phenomenal for the Celtics last night. Derrick White, 34 points. He was 9 of 16 from the field, 7 of 13 from 3. He's one of those guys, too. If he gets going early, watch out, because there's not going to be any real way to stop this Boston team if he's going. Also, Peyton Pritchard, like I said, 17 points, 6 of 17 from the field. Now, he was 5 of 14 from 3. He didn't have the great shooting night that he had several nights ago from 3, but it was still needed. It was still, a contribution that, make no mistake about it, without it, this team would have lost. And it was just a complete team effort. I mean, I want to definitely make sure I give a shout out to guys who don't typically get favor, like Luke Cornett. 10 points, 7 blocks. He had 9 rebounds last night. He was 5 of 5 from the field, electric, played the game of his life. They needed that from him. They need that type of performance from him the rest of the way if they're going to be able to stave off the Knicks and make it to the conference finals. Like I said, and then, Drew Holiday had 14 points. He was 5 of 8. He was 2 of 3 from 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3-point range. So ultimately it was a complete team effort. I mean, Porzingis, he stepped out of the game with a weird, respiratory injury. He's been battling an illness now for a while. They're not saying exactly what it is. I don't want to speculate because I'm not a doctor. It could be a multitude of different things. But however, he's been battling this for a while. He did not finish the game. He only had 1 point, 1 rebound, and he was only out there for 12 minutes. So had difficulty breathing, could definitely understand that. I hope Porzingis is okay. I hope whatever this issue is, it can get rectified possibly in the offseason, because this is kind of crazy that, he's not able to finish games like this because of this illness. But all that being said, going to the New York Knicks, and pardon me if I'm, a bit, harsh with this, but they look like they fucking took the night off. They looked like they had in their minds this team was going to be, shot or mentally frayed, and they were going to be able to come in and just do whatever the fuck they wanted to. No, no. When you take into account the fact that you're down mightily early, you're allowing Boston, just keep this in mind, Boston shot 45% from the field from three. They didn't shoot that well from the free throw line. Keep in mind, Tatum was out, so, he's one of their biggest free throw shooters, but Derrick White, Jaylen Brown struggled a bit from free throw line. So, Boston was hitting their shots. Boston was definitely doing what they needed to do. You're looking at New York, OG Anunoby, 6 points. I mean, what the fuck, 1 of 12 from the field. What the fuck am I to do with that? Josh Hart had 24 points. He was hella efficient, more efficient than what Anunoby was. But again, Josh Hart's typically the utility guy, but he had 24 points last night, 5 of 9 from 3-point range, and 7 of 15 from the field. Karl-Anthony Towns, 19 points, 8 rebounds. Again, 1 of 3 from 3, 5 of 11. Okay, but not great. Mikal Bridges, 9 points. Didn't really get to play the defensive end like the way he would have wanted to. Sucked from the field, 4 of 14 from the field, not going to get it done, under 30%. Jalen Brunson fouled out. Him and Karl-Anthony Towns was battling with foul trouble, so that definitely didn't help the Knicks situation. But Brunson had 22 points. He was 7 of 17 from the field. He was cold from three. He only had he was 1 of 4. And then Miles, McBride with 11 points. You got a couple fillers in it, but that's not the effort that you were expecting from the Knicks to potentially close out Boston in their home. But it's okay. I mean, this is kind of like what we expected. We expected the Knicks were going to try to do this in Game 6. I'm going to be honest with you. They have to close this game out. From what I saw last night, for you not to have Jayson Tatum and you to beat this team by 25 points, that tells me again what it's been all series. Boston's a better team. They just haven't been closing this series out. If you're the Knicks, you do not want to lose to a Jayson Tatum-less Boston Celtics team. That would be a fucking embarrassment of the highest order. So if you're the Knicks, how do you go about closing this out? Let's not get in foul trouble. Let's play better defense, and let's be more efficient shooting from the field. I think if you're the Knicks, if you have that philosophy, you should be good. I mean, shooting under 40% from the field is not great. Shooting 40% from three, that's okay, but 12 makes on 30 attempts, not great. You want to be better. So Knicks definitely have to be better if they want to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. But credit to the Celtics for not lying down. So still a series, but Game 6 will be coming tomorrow. So we will see. Next will be the series that is already finished. It will be the Timberwolves versus the Golden State Warriors. Timberwolves were able to pull out the victory 121-110, punching their tickets to the Western Conference Finals for the second time in 2 years. First of all, got to give the Warriors, not the Warriors, got to give the T-Wolves credit. I'll touch on the Warriors in a second, but got to give the T-Wolves credit. They were on fire to start this game. They came out there with a mindset that they were going to close this team out. They were not playing with their food. You could clearly see that from the beginning. And I got to give the Warriors, that I was going to mention Golden State, I got to give them credit because they did keep the game tight, as best as they could. But ultimately, this game was over by the end of the second quarter. I mean, the Wolves ended the second quarter on a 17-5 run. I mean, what the fuck are you to do with that if you're Golden State? You can't really do anything with that, And then the one thing that I didn't notice that was kind of revealing, though, and even Chris Finch kind of mentioned this because he was mic'd up during the game, Minnesota has to calm down on the fucking turnovers. I mean, last night they had 20. I mean, both teams combined in this series turned the ball over a lot, but for a closeout game, if Steph Curry had been on the floor, you would have lost that game. That's a lot of bad, inefficient, sloppy turnovers where you're just expecting them. You're not thinking. You're going into a half-ass. You're going into it not really prepared, and it could cost you. So that's something they definitely got to fix, especially if they're going against OKC or potentially a Denver Nuggets team. They have to clean that up if they're going to have any chance of going to the NBA Finals. But again, Minnesota didn't play with their food. They pulled away, but they had to keep their foot on the gas because I got to give the Warriors credit. They fought to the fucking end. Shout out to Brandon Podziemski. He had 28 points, 11 and 19 from the field, 4 or 6 from 3. Also, shout out to Jonathan Kuminga, 26 points, 11 to 23 from the field, 3 and 9 from 3. These guys were fighting like hell to keep this Warriors team involved. Jimmy Butler, I mean, what the fuck? 17 points, 4 of 11 from the field, 0 of 3 from three-point range. Jimmy has supplanted himself now, is proven Pat Riley correct. You would have been a fool to get this man a max contract. He's not a max player anymore. He is a secondary scorer. Not that he's garbage, but he's more of the second guy now, even on a great team, possibly the third. It was a lot to really expect him to carry this team, but the fact that he's not really a volume shooter and you had to really rely on Brandon Podziemski and Kuminga really to carry this team says a lot. Says a lot. Which leaves his future in limbo. I'll touch on that in a second. But nonetheless, if you're the Warriors, you didn't really shoot well from 3, 11 to 39. You fought like hell, 43% from the field. So you tried, but ultimately without Steph, you have no offense. I mean, they missed Steph badly. They missed Steph badly in this game, this series. It was, as you can see here, he was agonized, just going through hell watching it. But ultimately, yeah, they got a lot that they got to think about going into next season because I think they need to reshuffle the decks. But before I touch on their offseason outlook, I'm going to continue on with the Timberwolves. OG Mike Conley, 16 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 4 or 6 from 3. Typically, when Mike Conley is shooting well from three-point range, the Timberwolves typically win those games, so not a shock there. He played extremely well last night, did exactly what he needed to do to close this game out. He's vying for a championship. He's one of those guys that's been in the NBA for forever. If I'm correct, I want to say 2007, maybe 2008. I want to say 2007 to be exact, but been in the league for forever, looking to win a championship. One of those, veterans that, calming presence wherever he goes, respected, well loved. I'm pulling for him a bit. Like I said, Timberwolves are my dark horse anyway to win, come out of the West. So we'll see how things play out. But shout out to the OG Mike Conley. And Minnesota ultimately just kept their foot on the gas, and they did not allow this Warriors team, really a chance to come back. And I give them credit. They fought. But, as far as the Warriors offseason outlook goes, you have to continue to get younger, and you have to figure out, what are you going to do with – because let's be honest. Draymond Green had 10 points last night, 1 of 6 from 3, 4 of 11. Without Steph out there, he's a guy. Without Steph out there, and I know Draymond is an elite defender. He's played at a high level. Not everybody can stay on top for a long time, but I mean, he played damn near 36 minutes, and he gave you 10 points. And he was never really a scorer. But, 6 rebounds. You're getting out-rebounded. You're taking 6 3-point attempts. Steph's out, and you're hitting 1. It's just, it's a lot. They haven't really, the youth on the roster kind of worries me a bit. Outside of Podziemski, what are you going to do with Jonathan Kuminga? You fucked around with his contract and his situation. How is that going to play out? So it's interesting. It's very interesting. Kevon Looney didn't give you shit last night. So they need an injection of youth in that team. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to keep or add another veteran, if not retain Jimmy Butler, because I even think they may need to let Jimmy go. After this playoff series, without Steph, he really gives you nothing. Absolutely nothing. So it's kind of weird, but that's going to do it for this episode, guys. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll have another episode coming out talking about the start of the WNBA season. I definitely implore you to check that out. There'll be an article on Substack that I implore you to read that'll be in conjunction with it. I'll also be talking about the Eagles schedule release, so definitely stay in touch and stay in tune for those videos. Always, remain plugged in. I love you guys. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.